Here we have to discuss about hybridization. So what is hybridization? Simply, it is a phenomenon of intermixing atomic orbitals of almost equal energy, which is present in the outermost shell of atom and redistributed into same number of orbitals with equal energy and same shape. Means it is a process of intermixing almost equal energy orbitals, but they are not exactly equal. Then what happened with intermixing of orbitals? Simply, it can able to participate by outermost shell orbits, and they are able to redistribute it, means they are able to show some changes with the same number of, means how many orbitals are involving, we will get a same number, means how many is involving, we will get a same number of. If you take two number of orbitals in the participating of intermixing, you will get two number of. If you get three, right, after intermixing you will get again three. So with the same number of orbitals and having equal energy and same shape. Equal energy, same shape. So before, shape is different, energies is different, and moreover that properties are different. But after intermixing, they are having equal energy, same shape with the same number of. Right? Take the explanation of hybridization. Right? Here, the explanation with beryllium chloride. Here, beryllium chloride, central atom is beryllium, attached atom is chlorine. Right? Then, if you take the discussion how the bond angle is 180 degrees, here we have to take first example. The beryllium configuration in ground state means generally 1s2 2s2, that we call as ground state configuration. Then in the bond formation time, the electron is shuffled or shifted from s orbital to p orbital, means electron configuration is changed from 1s2 2s2 to 1s2 2s1 2px1, means one unpaired electron in s orbital, another unpaired electron in p orbital. Then here attached atom is chlorine. Then here chlorine is attached one with s orbital and another with p orbital. Then here this is s orbital is in spherical shape. Then this is in dumbbell shape because it is p orbital. What we think. Then how the bond angle is 180 degrees and how it is linear. Then to avoid this confusion, Mr. Linus Pauling came with hybridization, right? What is hybridization? Simply intermixing of orbitals. See, here two orbitals are there. One is 2s, another one is 2p. 2r belongs to second orbit, 2s, 2p means 2r belongs to same outermost shell. Then these two are intermixing and they are redistributed into same shape and equal energy with the same number of. Here how many are there? One is 2s, another one is 2px. Only two orbitals are there. That two are intermixing or not? Then it is called as sp. There is no separate name. Only how many are there? That should be having the name. Here one s is there, one p is there. For that orbital name is sp. How many are there? Two are there. One is for left side, another is for right side. Then ultimately here s orbital of beryllium is overlapped with chlorine p orbital. Then overlapping is sp p, that to end that we call as formation of sigma bond. Same thing to the right side. Here again sp of beryllium, sp orbital of beryllium, and overlapping with the p orbital of chlorine, that too with end to end, again sigma bond. Then it is the reason to get a bond angle as 180 degrees because same shape, overlapping is same. For that angle must be 180 degrees because the shape is linear. See, it is appearing linear or not? Because no change at here. But before, if you not having any concept as hybridization, there is a variation. It is spherical in shape, it is dumbbell in shape. Yet here we have a doubt how it is same. But after understanding of a particular hybridization concept, it is clear or not? So this is the explanation from Linus Pauling. That too, what type of hybridization is there in beryllium chloride? Right? The hybridization type is sp. Right? Have you got a clarity? here we have to discuss about one more example of molecule, that is BF3, boron trifluoride. Then if you take this molecule, the configuration of boron is 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. That is general configuration, what we call as ground state electronic configuration, means normal what we are writing. But in bond formation time, it is slightly changes, 1s2, 2s1, 2px1, 2py1, means one electron from 2s it is entering into the 2p. Then this is the configuration what we are using in the explanation time. Then here one is s orbital, remaining two are p orbitals, same like previous example, like beryllium chloride. Then here one s orbital, two p orbitals are intermixing, means total 3 orbitals. One s orbital, 2 or 3 p orbitals. So 1 plus 2, 3, means total number of orbitals how many? 3 orbitals, right? Then that 3 orbitals we simply call as sp2, means 1 s orbital, 2 p orbitals. For that all 3 orbitals of boron we call as sp2 orbitals. Here one sp2, here one sp2, here one sp2. Then 3 fluorine atoms is attaching to each sp2 orbital. sp2 with the fluorine of p orbital, right? So fluorine's p orbital is attaching with end to end, causing for sigma bond. Same thing, one more sp2 is having bond with one more p orbital of fluorine. Here sp2p, again sigma bond because end to end overlapping. Then one more sp2 orbital of boron, right? That too overlapping with p orbital of fluorine, for that sigma bond. So 3 sigma bonds are there. Then what is the bond angle? Already we are familiar, it is 120 degrees, right? So after introducing of hybridization, it is clear or not explaining about the bond angles, and also possible to clear explanation about structure. So this is trigonal planar structure. Trigonal planar. See, triangle shape is there or not? Right? So this is the explanation with hybridization by Linus Pauling in the molecule of boron trifluoride. Have you got a clarity? Yes. Here we have to discuss about one more molecule, that is NH3, means ammonia, right? Here the central atom is nitrogen, the configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. It is common configuration, there is no excited separately, right? Excited state configuration is not present because all three are unpaired electrons, means single electrons. Then here attaching atom is what? Hydrogen. Configuration is 1s1. Then here 2s, 2px, 2py, 2pz. How many orbitals are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. One is s orbital, remaining all p orbitals. So here type of hybridization is sp3. What we call? sp3. Then in that this particular one is we called s orbital, because how many electrons are there? 2 electrons are there. 2 electrons. Even though it is having 2 electrons, we call as lone pair, it is also participated in the hybridization, right? But the size is not able to change because it is having 2 electrons from central atom or not. So central atom orbital, even though it is participated in the hybridization, there is no change in the shape, but remaining are able to change its shape, right? Then here sp3 orbital of nitrogen, one hydrogen of s orbital, 2 are overlapped with end to end like this, right? Then sigma bond is formed. Same thing with the second sp3 of nitrogen and one s orbital of hydrogen, 2 are sp3s sigma bond right? Then here also one more sp3 of central nitrogen, right? Central atom of nitrogen and one s orbital of hydrogen. Two are end to end overlapped. Then ultimately sigma bond is formed, right? Even though it is having sp3 hybridization like CH4. CH4 means methane also having CH4, right? But as the angle of methane is only 109 degrees 28 minutes, right? But here one lone pair is there or not to the nitrogen. But in methane, no lone pairs are present. For that, here bond angle is reduced from 109 degrees 28 minutes to 107 degrees 48 minutes. Because here the size difference of one lone pair, that too for what? 2s orbital. Because this is having 2 electrons, right? So this is the explanation from Linus Pauling from hybridization to know the structure. Here one more, that is the shape of NH3 is pyramid shape. What is the shape? Pyramid shape. And what is the bond angle? 107 degrees 48 minutes, right? Even though it is having hybridization like CH4, but having something change in the bond angle as well as shape, because it is having one lone pair. So it is based on Westport theory included with the hybridization by Linus Pauling. So this is the explanation of NH3 molecule structure and bond angle. Okay, children? We have to take one more example, that is H2O molecule, right? In the atom molecule, the central atom is oxygen. The configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1, 2pz1, right? And attached atom is what? Hydrogen. Configuration is 1s1. Then here these two are having 2 electrons each. So that one is you consider as Sr 2s2, another one is 2px2. Then remaining is 2py1 and 2pz1. Then these all are intermixing, right? Intermixing together. Then the type of hybridization is sp3, right? What is the hybridization? sp3 hybridization. And having a clarity, these two are having a little bit more size, or the shape is variation due to having 2 electrons of central atom. But the remaining, which are having unpaired electrons, they are having a particular shape, right? The type of orbitals, all orbitals we call as sp3, but here we have to write in separate because these two only able to form the bond. Here one sp3 orbital of oxygen having attachment with the s orbital of hydrogen. Two are end-to-end overlap. Then ultimately sigma bond is formed. Same like in left side, here sp3 orbital of oxygen attached with s orbital of hydrogen with end-to-end. Then ultimately it is causing for sigma bond formation. Then here bond angle we already clear, it is 104 degrees and 32 minutes. 32 minutes, right? So already we discussed sp3 orbital of ammonium is 109 degrees 28 minutes. 28 minutes. Whereas come to sp3 hybridization of NH3 is having 107 degrees 48 minutes. 48 minutes. But here water molecule bond angle is 104 degrees 32 minutes. Why the difference? Again the difference is this. Here in NH3 only one lone pair is there. But in water molecule 2 lone pairs are there. Due to that they are ready to show repulsion due to showing of equal size. That too, that the pair of electrons belongs to central atom. Then bond angle is reduced in water molecule even though it is having sp3 hybridization. The bond angle is changed from 109 degrees 28 minutes to 104 degrees 32 minutes. Moreover, the shape of water molecule is V shape. There is no change. See, V shape or not? So that is the clarity by hybridization in the molecule of H2. Okay, children. To discuss about the properties of covalent compounds and ionic compounds. So it is not only for covalent and ionic compounds, we have to discuss one more is polar covalent, right? For that we have to take examples. Here I taken ionic compounds or ionic bond present in the compound, that is ionic compounds is NaCl. For polar covalent is HCl and covalent is C2H6. C2H6, what we call as ethane. Here hydrochloric acid, right? Then if you take a ionic compound, those ionic compounds generally present at room temperature or generally they are existed in crystal form, means solid form. Then NaCl is in white color solid or white color crystal the presence. Then if you take a polar covalent compound like HCl, it is a colorless gas. Especially when you take the example of HCl in the laboratory, it is available in liquid form. When you remove the cap of particular HCl bottle, ultimately we can able to see the fumes, means we can able to get the smoke. When you blow the air, ultimately the amount of HCl vapor or HCl smoke is little bit more. It will appear to the naked eye, means we can observe clear. Then if you take covalent compound of example C2H6 as ethane, it is also colorless gas. Then if you took in one more example or one more property of ionic compound, MP melting point, BP boiling point. The melting point and boiling point values is maximum or highest to the ionic compounds because ionic bond is non-directional bond or it is not having any directionality because it is attraction. Already we discussed electrostatic force, means two opposite charged ions are able to attract. So due to that it can able to carry high value of melting points and boiling points. See the values, 801 degrees of melting point, 1413 degrees of boiling point, highest value. But coming to polar covalent, here these are having a moderate one. Minus 115 means minus 115 degrees Celsius of melting point, minus 84 degrees Celsius of boiling point. Then here if you take ethane gas, here the melting point is minus 183 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 88.63 degrees Celsius. Means these are having least value of melting points and boiling points because these are simply it is having a overlapping of orbitals. Covalent bond means overlapping of orbitals or not. Then if you look into one more, where ionic compounds are dissolved, simply ionic compounds dissolved maximum or perfectly in polar solvents. Polar solvents means the solvent which able to show charges, right? Here the ionic compounds easily dissolved in the water. This we call the universal solvent. Universal solvent means all things able to dissolve in the water. For that we call universal solvent. Universal solvent is water. It is in the polar nature. For that we call as polar solvent. Then whereas come to here polar covalent bond compound as HCl, it is some extent means something it is possible to dissolve it in the water. If you take HCl in diluting process, we can able to take the water in the beaker and we should take the HCl with the dropper and able to drop in dropwise. Then we can able to see clear dissociation process, means it is absorbed like cloud in the water. So it is slow process of HCl dissolving in the water, not in complete, it is very little bit slow. For that we call the some extent. Then it is also able to dissolve in the non-polar solvents. Non-polar solvents. So non-polar solvents generally we call as benzene, right? Or some other liquids or toluene something. Generally we call the non-polar solvents as petrol, diesel, kerosene. That are also having we call as non-polar because they are having covalent bonds. So the polar covalent compounds are able to dissolve in the water and in somewhat they are able to dissolve in the non-polar solvents. And whereas come to polar covalent compounds, covalent compounds that are only dissolved in the non-polar solvents like benzene, toluene. Benzene, toluene, that names we will learn in intermediate, right? But generally, when you got the name polar means water, non-polar means simply oils, petrols, diesels that we have to keep in mind. Then here ionic compounds having show fast reaction means that reactivity nature of ionic compounds is fast. Especially if you take salt in the water, within seconds it is able to dissolve in the water just on stirring. Then coming to HCl, it is little bit slow at room temperature. I am saying about at room temperature. So the HCl dissolving in the water is a little bit slow process. Then coming to C2H6, they are having the reaction ability is very slow at room temperature. These are the properties of ionic, polar covalent and covalent. Here we have to discuss one more thing about polar covalent. Right? Till now you got a clarity? Here we have to discuss about polar covalent compounds. Here we have the example as HCl. Here H is combining with chlorine, ultimately it can able to form hydrogen chloride, HCl. Then if you take here 1 proton for hydrogen and 7 protons for chlorine, then as a result, whatever the bond pair is there between the hydrogen and chlorine, that 2 electrons is slightly moving towards the chlorine, and due to moving of pair of electrons towards the chlorine, it can able to show partial negative charge, means slight negative charge. Due to slight negative charge on chlorine, hydrogen is able to show a slight positive charge, means partial positive charge. So due to appearing of charges in less amount, this particular covalent compound we called as polar covalent bond. Means polarity means showing of charges. It is not a complete ionic compound. It is covalent compound but showing some extent or very slight amount of charges. For that, this particular chemical compound, even though covalent nature but showing of that slight charges, we named as polar covalent bonds. So polar covalent bond best example is HCl, right? Then this particular one is for polar covalent bond. Here we have to take one example. HCl is slightly dissolved in the non-polar one. So non-polar already we discussed, especially benzene, toluene, what we discussed, right? These two will appear liquids in intermediate stage. So this one less amount or rarely dissolved in these two content, but it easily dissolved in the water, because water is showing plus or minus, means plus charge for hydrogen and negative charge for oxygen. For that, same thing is there or not? For that, polar covalent compounds easily dissolved in the water, but slightly is dissolved in the non-polar one, means covalent compounds, right? This statement we call as like dissolves in like, means charged compounds simply dissolved in the charged compounds. Same thing, ionic compounds dissolved in the ionic, because two are in ionic nature. For that, it is dissolved in the universal solvent like water. But no ionic compound dissolved in benzene, because benzene is non-polar solvent. Then same thing, if you take C2H6, it is a non-polar or covalent compound. It is easily dissolved in the benzene, because here C2H6 means covalent compound of ethylene is easily dissolved in the same covalent nature of benzene. Means covalent compounds are easily dissolved in the non-polar, but covalent compounds never dissolved in the water, because water is polar solvent. So this is unlike, is never dissolved, but like should be dissolved. Like dissolves in like does not, unlike does not dissolves it. That you have to take a clarity. Here covalent compounds in polar solvents easily dissolve. Then if you take NaCl, that is ionic compound, this ionic compound easily dissolved in the water. Right? Have you got a clarity?